Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another episode of What's in a Performance, where today we are going to be taking a look at another one of the OG anime pianists, Theishter. Theishter too is a fellow man of REM culture like me. But today we're not taking a look at one of his ReZero arrangements, we're taking a look at his classic, most famous, Glassy Sky. If you haven't heard it yet, you must have been living under a rock, but go and check that out because I'm going to be stopping a lot as I talk through this piece and what he does. And so let's get right into the review. I find it very interesting. It's interesting because it achieves a very specific effect. I'm also reading this for the first time, so please bear with my mistakes. He's bouncing his hands so that he gets like this sort of like very specific attack and articulation onto the note, and it comes out very clearly, right? It's like almost like a bell that cuts through the density of like. Personally, my recommendation for trying to achieve this, if you don't have that sort of control yet from coming from above, is to keep the hand on the keys for now and just lift the fingers a little bit higher. It's like you're almost rotating onto the other fingers to let these fingers come a little bit higher, and then you go same thing, right? Up, and then switch fingers, same thing. And the reason why I recommend this for when you're starting off is because it's giving you something to ground yourself off of, and then you're able to better understand how different variations or different heights can change the tone. But if you have a good feel for it and you want to come from above, I think it achieves the effect that he's looking for, so it's very nice. This wrist movement is very dramatic. It's a very performance-oriented. Some of it is also adding nice lift and texture to the end of these sorts of phrases from the left hand even. There's a very smooth phrasing from the upper notes. A lot of that is achieved by, again, playing close to the key, and this sort of wrist movement, while it does look like it's a little bit flourishy, it does help drive your hand and the feeling and the movement of the notes upwards in the keyboard to the next thing. Really like how it is very light except for the bass notes. The important notes, as we've talked about previously in many of our other review videos. That was very interesting. I've very rarely see somebody roll as though they're playing each note individually. It's almost like playing bronze with high lifted fingers, which then gives it a sort of detached feeling. For those starting off, I would recommend keeping a little bit closer to the keys so that you understand the feeling first. You see a lot of weight going into the keys, right, to keep the tone pleasant. Very nice, very nice. Very nice arpeggios. Everything is just centered around how you're phrasing and shaping these notes. And one thing important to remember is that a lot of the times the dynamics can follow the contour of the notes. So if you're going up, it can get a little bit louder, and then when you come back down, it gets a little bit softer, and it creates a little bit more interesting movement in the way that you're playing these very long runs. And that's what Ishii's doing as well. He likes keeping, and I actually like this a lot, he likes keeping the left hand at the low dynamic that he wants. But he'll bring the right hand up very loud, kind of like what he did earlier with the dropping onto the keys, except now he's pushing a little bit, and he likes to play a lot from above. I'll say that it sounds fine when he does it, right? Because he's controlled and he knows what he's doing. At the very least, it sounds like it's coming out the way that it's intended. But again, for a beginner, I would recommend against playing so much from above, just so that you develop a sense of tonality that you're going for first, before then you try expanding your palette. Very delicate. When I see phrasing like this, I typically will play a little bit more connect. But Ishii, again, still maintains that sort of bouncy feel, from above wrist feeling. Both ways would create an interesting transition into this like heavier, denser section. That's at a forte. And you see a lot of weight going into the keys, which is very important. I like how the pedal cuts off right as this next note comes in. It's like an interesting blend of holding the previous note through the pedal, allowing this new note to almost feel like it melds out of the old notes, but not quite so much. He cuts it off almost immediately after, and so it almost feels as though it's you get a little bit of that new phrase feeling, new breath feeling, but also a little bit of that melting feeling, which is very nice. Maybe we listen to it again. Those runs are very impressive. Same comment about runs and contour shaping as I did before. Very nice. It's a very nice pullback right there, right? As you're going up, it creates a nice opportunity for you to then drop because you're already holding it through the pedal. So the pedal is like almost creating the decrescendo for you. And so it's very nice when he lands back. Let's do it one more time. And then boom. It's almost like the decrescendo was affected through the holding of the note. Really like the hold on those notes at the end there. Sometimes people don't hold it long enough, right? They have an itch to keep going. Again, it's very easy to see why this is such a classical, it's not a classical piece, but it's just such a classic piece in the anime piano repertoire, in the anime piano community. If you're new to the piano, new to the instrument, and you want to play this, I would emphasize just try to keep your hands a little bit closer to the keys while trying to match some of the phrasing that he's implementing. Click on one of these videos that are showing up on your screen right now because I talk about other anime pianists who you probably know. And so you'll want to watch one of these videos. I'll see you there. Peace.